So my dear students, today we want to study about the structure of atom. So uh, chemistry is actually the material science, and in which we study about the matter, and matter is generally made up of the atoms, and that is why we want to study the structure of atom. Now the first question arises that why different kind of matter exist? Why there is a different kind of matter that exists? So different kind of matter exist because different atoms constitute them. Matter constituted by same type of atom is same and called element. So we have different type of atoms that constitute the different type of atom by combining in a various ratio, and that is why we have various kinds of matter that exist. What is the subatomic particle? What is the meaning of the word subatomic particle? A particle present in an atom and smaller than an atom are called or is called subatomic particle. Once again, particle that is present inside the atom which is smaller than the atom is called subatomic particle. For example, we have various subatomic particles to study about. They are proton, electron, and neutron. So we will study about these subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, and electrons. As proposed by Dalton, are atoms really invisible? As proposed by Dalton, that atoms are indivisible. Uh, as question is, as proposed by Dalton, are atoms really indivisible? So as proposed by Dalton, that atoms are indivisible particles. This proposal is wrong and incorrect. Actually, atoms are divisible, and there are smaller constituents inside the atoms found. Name the different models that explain the structure of an atom. So J.J. Thomson model, Rutherford's model, and Bohr's models actually explain the various structure of atoms. What was the major challenge before the scientists at the end of the 19th century? So the major challenges before the scientists at the end of the 19th century was to reveal the structure of atom. मतलब एटम का स्ट्रक्चर कैसा है उसको उजागर करना, उसको दिखाना, उसको बताना, that was the problem. To explain the important properties of atom, to explain the various properties of atom, these were the two major challenges before 18th century the scientists were facing. What is the base for the elucidation of the structure of atom? On what basis actually the scientists should explain us the structure of atom? A series of experiments conducted by the various scientists was the base for the elucidation of the structure of atom. So from those experiments, the scientists have developed or elucidate the structure of atom. Uh, which was the first indication showing that atoms are not divisible. So the first indication showing that atoms are not divisible comes from the studying the static electricity conditions under which electricity is conducted by different substances. So people come to know that different substances conduct electricity. Different. Suppose you and on the basis of that, the scientists revealed that the atoms is divisible and there are small particles available inside the atom. Write two different activities called activities of static electricity and write their conclusions. My dear students, these activities you can do at your home. ये activities आप अपने घर पे भी कर सकते हैं. I would request you to do this activity at home. Please do this activity so that you can understand that there is a charge inside atom, or we can say that the atoms are indivisible. By using this, you can come to know that atoms are indivisible. Let us understand two different activities, activity A and activity B, called activity of static electricity. These activities are known as the activity of static electricity. Let's move to एक्टिविटी नंबर ए. कॉम्ब ड्राई है, अपने बालों में ना, अपने बालों को सूखा रखो, उसमें बिल्कुल ही ऑयल नहीं होना चाहिए, और फिर उसमें कंघी, कॉम्ब ड्राई हेयर, अपने सूखे बालों में कंघी घुमाओ। ब्रिंग द कॉम्ब नियर टू द स्मॉल पीसेस ऑफ पेपर, छोटे छोटे कागज के छोटे छोटे टुकड़े करो और उसके नीचे ये जो कॉम्ब, जो कंघी आपने अपने बालों में घुमाई है, उसको उसके नजदीक लाओ। ऑब्जर्व, और उसे ध्यान से देखो। डज द कॉम्ब अट्रैक्ट द स्मॉल पीसेस ऑफ पेपर, क्या ये जो कॉम्ब है, जो आपकी कंघी है, वो कागज के छोटे छोटे टुकड़ों को अट्रैक्ट करती है? ऑब्जर्वेशन, कॉम्ब पास्ड थ्रू ड्राई हेयर अट्रैक्ट्स द स्मॉल पीसेस ऑफ पेपर, ये जो कंघी आपने अपने सूखे बालों में घुमाई थी, वो इन छोटे छोटे कागज के टुकड़ों को अपनी ओर आकर्षित करती है। कंक्लूजन, व्हाट डू वी कंक्लूड बाय ऑल दिस? व्हाट डू वी अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम दिस एक्सपेरिमेंट? when we rub when we rub two objects, charged particles from one object goes to the another object. When we rub two objects, actually charged particles from one object goes to the another object. Here charged particles from hair comes to the comb, and so the comb become charged, and the charged comb attracts the pieces of paper. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, जब हम किसी दो चीजों को एक दूसरे से कांटेक्ट में लाते हैं, जब उनको रब करते हैं, जब उसको एक दूसरे से फ्रिक्शन करवाते हैं या घिसते हैं, तब क्या होता है कि एक सब्सटेंस से पार्टिकल दूसरे सब्सटेंस में चले जाते हैं, जो कि चार्ज पार्टिकल होता है। तो दूसरा सब्सटेंस जो है वो चार्ज हो जाता है। और ये इसी तरह से जब आपने कंघी को बालों में घुमाया, तो वो कंघी पर चार्ज के पार्टिकल आ गए। ये चार्ज पार्टिकल जो होते हैं, उन्होंने फिर अपने कागज के छोटे छोटे टुकड़ों को अट्रैक्ट किया। सो एटम इज डिविजिबल एंड एटम कंटेन्स चार्ज पार्टिकल, मतलब ये जो चार्ज के पार्टिकल्स हैं वो कहाँ रहते हैं? तो वो चार्ज के पार्टिकल एटम, जो चीज बनी है उसके जो एटम है उसके अंदर रहते हैं, और उससे पता चलता है कि एटम के अंदर और छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल होते हैं। चलिए अब दूसरी एक्टिविटी देखते हैं, एक्टिविटी बी। रब अ ग्लास रॉड विद अ सिल्क क्लॉथ एंड ब्रिंग द रॉड नियर एन इन्फ्लेटेड बलून। अब आपको क्या करना है, एक ग्लास का रॉड लेना है, ग्लास का सलिया आप कह सकते हैं, ग्लास रॉड, और उसको सिल्क के क्लॉथ से उस पर रब करना है, और फिर उसको इन्फ्लेटेड बलून के नजदीक लाना है। इन्फ्लेटेड बलून इज अट्रैक्टेड टूवर्ड्स द ग्लास रॉड, ये जो इन्फ्लेटेड बलून है वो ग्लास रॉड के प्रति आकर्षित होता है। कंक्लूजन, क्यों होता है, कैसे होता है, समझते हैं। When we rub two objects, charged particles from one object moves on the other object. Both the objects are charged, so charged object is attracted by the another object. Therefore, we can say that atom is divisible and atom has got charge particles inside it. तो इस तरह से बच्चों पता चला कि एटम के अंदर चार्ज पार्टिकल्स होते हैं। What was known by 1900 in the case of the structure of atom? स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ एटम के बारे में साल 1900 तक हमें क्या क्या पता चल चुका था रिगार्डिंग द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ एटम? तो चलिए जानते हैं। इट वॉज नोन बाय 1900 दैट एटम वॉज नॉट सिंपल indivisible particle but contains at least one subatomic particle. तो साल 1900 तक हमें पता चल चुका था कि भाई एटम के अंदर भी छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल होते हैं, और इन पार्टिकल्स को कम से कम एक तो चार्ज पार्टिकल एटम के अंदर होता ही होता है। नेम द साइंटिस्ट हु डिस्कवर्ड प्रोटॉन, इलेक्ट्रॉन एंड न्यूट्रॉन। प्लीज याद कर लीजिए बच्चों, प्रोटॉन इज डिस्कवर्ड बाय द साइंटिस्ट E. Goldstein. Electron is discovered by the scientist J.J. Thomson. Neutron is discovered by the scientist James Chadwick. Please learn these names, and these are the scientists who discovered the various species or various particles that are found into the atoms. They are also known as the subatomic particles. Name 3 subatomic particles and differentiate them on the basis of their charges, mass, and representation, and also write the scientists who discovered them and who discovered them, radiation that lead to their discovery, and what kind of radiation lead to their discovery. So let us start with the table, my dear students. You can see here one table. In this table you can see that we have subatomic particles like electron, proton and neutron. Then their characteristics we are going to study. So the first characteristics we want to study is charge present type. What type of charge is present on them and what is the magnitude of the charge. So the charge present on electron is a negative charge and its magnitude is -1. The charge present on proton is positive charge and its magnitude is +1. The charge present on neutron is no charge. So neutron does not have any charge and it is neutral. And that is why the magnitude of charge on neutron is 0. Then my dear students, we want to study about the relative mass. Relative mass or comparative mass with each other for electron, proton and neutron. So the mass of electron is considered to be the negligible mass. Mass of proton is approximately 2000 times as the mass of the electron, and mass of neutron is nearly equal to that of the proton, but the mass of neutron is more than the mass of proton. Please remember that the mass of electron is considered to be negligible. Mass of proton and mass of neutron is considerable, but the mass of neutron is more than the mass of proton, and proton and neutrons are almost 2000 times having more mass, or the mass of neutron and proton is more than 2000 times the mass of electron. Now my dear students, we want to study the comparison with the magnitude for calculating the atomic mass. So for calculating the atomic mass we will consider the mass of electron as a negligible or 0. For mass of proton we will consider as a 1 u, and the mass of neutron we will consider as 1 u. 1 u means one unified mass. Unified mass or one atomic mass unit that we have studied into the previous chapters. Now my dear students, we want to study the representation. How do we represent the proton, electron and neutron? So for electron we write E minus because it has got negative charge. For proton we write P plus, and for neutron we just write N. The another representation is 1E0, 1P1 and 0N1. This part is known as the atomic number, and this part which we show into the, so the subscript is a atomic number and superscript is atomic mass. So it represents their mass. So my dear students, the electron contribute into the calculation of atomic number, proton contribute to the calculation of atomic number, but neutron does not is used for calculation of the atomic number. Whereas in case of the calculating atomic mass, proton contribute to the calculation of the atomic mass, neutron contribute to the calculation of atomic mass, but our electron does not contribute to the calculation of atomic mass. So this is how, my dear students, we understand the representation of the protons, electrons and neutrons. Now scientists who discovered it, so electron was discovered by the scientist J.J. Thomson, proton was discovered by the scientist E. Goldstein, and was discovered by the scientist James Chadwick. A radiation that leads to the discovery of this proton, electron and neutron. So electron was discovered by the radiation named as the cathode rays. Proton was discovered by the name radiation, that is what it is known as the canal rays or anode rays, and neutron was discovered by the radiations that the name of that radiation is gamma rays. So please remember that proton was discovered from the cathode rays, electron was discovered from the cathode rays, proton was discovered from the canal rays, and neutron was discovered from the gamma rays. Please remember these facts, my dear students, and they are very useful for understanding the various concepts even. So please learn these tables and please learn them well. I would suggest you to go through. अगर आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो आप लोग बीच में मुझे स्टॉप करके पूछ सकते हैं. If you do not understand anything, you can stop me in between and ask the questions. Now let's move forward. See, this portion is not concluded in the syllabus, so now we'll move to the. But let us study a little bit of them, because what are the canal rays? So scientist E. Goldstein discovered the presence of positively charged radiation in the gas discharge tube experiment. Please remember the name of this experiment, gas discharge tube experiment. And that lead to the discovery of proton are called the canal rays. So what are the canal rays? Canal rays are the rays that has been produced by the gas that has been produced in the gas discharge tube experiment, and that led to the discovery of proton is called the canal rays. This is how you understand about the canal rays. Which two subatomic particles balance their charges mutually in an atom? Please remember, protons and electrons are the two subatomic particles that mutually balance their charges in an atom. So please remember that electron and protons are the particles which cancel out, which mutually balance their charges in an atom. Locate or determine the position of proton and electron. Here, यहाँ पे बच्चों हमें ये डिसाइड करना है कि प्रोटॉन और इलेक्ट्रॉन एटम में कहाँ रहते हैं. So protons are in the interior of the atom and cannot be easily peeled off. Peeled off मतलब उनको छिलके की तरह छिलके निकाल नहीं सकते, उनको जल्दी से बाहर निकालना मुश्किल होता है. तो protons are in the interior of the atom and cannot be peeled off. Electrons are in the exterior of atom and can be easily peeled off. तो इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है वो एटम के बाहरी भाग में रहते हैं और उनको जल्दी से या बहुत ही इजी तरीके से एटम में से निकाला जा सकता है. तो जब हम किसी दो चीजों को रब करते हैं बच्चों, तो जो पार्टिकल्स एक चीज से दूसरे चीज पे चला जाता है वो ज्यादातर इलेक्ट्रॉन होते हैं, और जो पार्टिकल इलेक्ट्रॉन खो देता है वो पॉजिटिवली, जो सब्सटेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन खो देता है वो पॉजिटिवली चार्ज हो जाता है, और जो सब्सटेंस को इलेक्ट्रॉन मिल जाते हैं वो नेगेटिवली चार्ज हो जाता है. प्लीज याद रखिए बच्चों, in an atom contains one electron and one proton, will it carry any charge or not? So if an atom contains one electron and one proton, an atom will not carry any charge, as one electron and one proton mutually balance their charges and such atom is electrically neutral. तो प्लीज याद रखिए, अगर एक एटम में एक प्रोटॉन है और एक इलेक्ट्रॉन है तो ये +1 एंड -1 चार्ज अल्टीमेटली जीरो चार्ज हो जाता है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई द एटम इज इलेक्ट्रिकली न्यूट्रल. तो अगर किसी भी एटम में प्यारे बच्चों इक्वल नंबर ऑफ प्रोटॉन्स एंड इलेक्ट्रॉन है, सपोज इफ यू हैव 15 इलेक्ट्रॉन and 15 proton, then the atom is going to be electrically neutral. तो किसी भी एटम में अगर इक्वल नंबर ऑफ प्रोटॉन एंड इक्वल नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन होते हैं तो वो जो एटम है वो इलेक्ट्रिकली न्यूट्रल हो जाता है. प्लीज रिमेंबर दैट इफ द नंबर ऑफ एटम्स एंड इफ द नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स एंड प्रोटॉन्स present inside an atom are equal, then the atom is going to be electrically neutral. Please remember, please remember. Discovery of which two fundamental particles inside the atom led to the failure of the Dalton's atomic theory. So discovery of two fundamental particles, protons and electron, inside an atom led to the discovery or led to the failure of the Dalton's atomic theory. Now, in this year, my dear students, these various models proposed are not in the syllabus. Name 3 subatomic particles and compare their mass. Let us read some question. What was the role of different atomic models proposed? So different atomic models proposed were proposed for the explaining how electrons and protons are arranged in the atom. So various scientists have done various experiments, and using them they have proposed that how electrons and protons are arranged in an atom. What type of charges are present on proton and electrons? So proton has got positive charge +1, while electron, please remember, while electron has a negative charge -1. Next, name three subatomic particles and compare their mass. There are three subatomic particles: proton, electrons, and neutrons. Mass of electron is negligible. Mass of proton is actually, approximately 2000 times the mass of electron, and mass of neutron is nearly equal to the mass of proton, but mass of neutron is slightly more than the mass of proton. Which subatomic particles contribute in the determination of atomic mass and atomic number? Please remember, proton contributes in both determination of atomic number as well as atomic mass number. Neutron contributes in the determining of the atomic mass number, but not in the determination of the atomic number. Please remember that proton contribute in both in the calculation of atomic number as well as atomic mass number, but neutron just contribute in the calculation of atomic mass number, but not in the but does not contribute in the calculation of atomic number. What are nucleons and name them? So we want to study about the various types of nucleons. Subatomic particles which are present in the nucleus of an atom are called nucleons. Please remember that subatomic particles which are present in the nucleus of an atom are called nucleons, and that is why protons and neutrons are called nucleons. So please remember that protons and neutrons which are present into the nucleus of an atom, and that is why they are called nucleons, my dear students. Now, my dear students, we will, or I will send you. We will not study right now the various models proposed by the various scientists, and we will start studying about the structure of atom in detail. So, my dear students, we want to study about the structure of atom in detail, and you can see here that what are the things available inside the atom. So when we study the structure of atom, you can see here that an atom has got nucleus. This nucleus has got protons and neutrons present into them. Around this nucleus, my dear students, we have various electrons available, and these electrons moves into the various types of path. These path are known as the let us study about the structure of atom. In order to Niels Bohr said us about the structure of atom. What did he say? That only certain special orbits known as the discrete orbits of electron are allowed inside the atom. So inside the atom, for movement of various electrons, my dear students, there are some discrete parts available for electrons. This discrete part available for movement of electrons are known as the orbits, my dear students. Only certain special orbits known as discrete orbits are in which electrons are allowed to move into the atom. While revolving in a discrete orbit, electrons do not radiate energy. These orbits or shells are called energy levels. These orbits or shell that we can see them, they are also called the energy levels, and these orbits or shells are represented by the various alphabets like K, L, M, N, and for that we have the value of N. When we have N is equal to 1, we have K shell. When N is equal to 2, we have L shell. When N is equal to 3, we have M shell, and when N is equal to 4, we have N shell. What is N? N is the number of shells starting from near to the nucleus. So this is N is equal to 1, my dear students. This is what we call it, N is equal to 1. This is what we call it, N is equal to 2. This is what we call it, N is equal to 3. This is what it is called, N is equal to 4. So my dear students, when we study about the structure of atom, we come to know that when we have an atom has got nucleus. In this nucleus, we have protons and neutrons available. Then the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a discrete path. This discrete path is known as either orbits or they are known as the shells. They are known as the orbits or shells. They are also known as the energy levels. Energy levels. So these energy levels or cells or orbits, they are given names according to their distance from the nucleus. The one which is nearmost to the nucleus is known as n is equal to 1. Then we have give the number n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4. When we have n is equal to 1, such shell is known as K shell. When we have n is equal to 2, such shell is known as L shell. When n is equal to 3, such shell is known as M shell. When n is equal to 4, such shell is known as N shell, and this is how we understand the structure of atom, my dear students. Now, how are electrons distributed in the different orbites or different shells? Let us study, my dear students, or write the rules suggested by Bohr and Bory for the distribution of electron in the different energy levels. So, my dear students, we have just seen that in an atom we have nucleus. Around this nucleus we have various orbitals or shells or energy levels, and in these energy levels how we can fill these electrons. There are some rules to study about. Let us study the various rules uh, to understand how the electrons are filled into the various energy levels. So following are the rules for writing how electrons are distributed in the different energy levels or shells. Number one, the maximum number of electrons present in a shell is given by the formula 2n square, where n is equal to the orbit number or energy level index, where we have the value of n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and dash, dash, dash. So that is why, my dear students, in K shell we can have n is equal to 1, and that is why we can fill the maximum number of electron, that can be 2 into n square. Here n is equal to 1, and that is why we write 2 into 1 square, that is 2 into 1, and that is 2 electrons. So in K shell we can fill the maximum number of shell, we can have maximum number of 2 electrons that is filled into this shell. Now when it comes to the L shell, my dear students, we have maximum number of electrons that can be filled into the L shell is equal to 2 into 2 square, that is 2 square is equal to 4, that is 2 into 4, and that is why maximum 8 electrons that can be filled into that shell. When it comes to the M shell, my dear students, we have n is equal to 3, and that is why 2 into n square, that is 2 into 3 square, that is 3 square is equal to 9, and that is why total 18 electrons that can be filled into that particular shell. When we have n is equal to 4, my dear students, the total number of electrons that can be filled in n shell is equal to 2 into 4 square is equal to 2, and that is why 2 into 16, and that is why 32 electrons are filled into the n shell. So this is how, my dear students, we can understand about the various shells and the various numbers that can be filled. The maximum number of electron that can be accommodated in outermost orbit is 8. Please remember that in outermost orbit, see, first orbit, that is 2, we can fill the 2 electrons. But then in the outermost orbit, we will fill only 8 electron into particular shell. So this is how we can understand that maximum 8 electrons are filled into the outermost orbit. Electrons are not accommodated in a given shell unless inner shells are filled. So suppose this is the nucleus, and around the nucleus you have this first shell, the second shell, third shell. In the first shell we can fill 2 electrons. So 1 and 2 electrons. Suppose there is no electron present in the first shell. So can we fill the electron directly into the second shell? And the answer is no. First, the first shell should be filled, and after completely filling the first shell, we can move to the next shell. So please remember the and maximum electron that we can fill into the any shell is 8. So in the first shell we can put only 2 electrons, but later on we can fill the shell up to 8 electrons. Until the inner shell is not completely filled, we cannot move to the next shell, or next shell is not filled. So my dear students, make the schematic atomic structure of the first 20 elements. We want to study about the atomic structures of these all elements, and that is why let us study how is the structure of various elements. The first element, my dear students, is hydrogen. This hydrogen has got atomic number 1 and atomic mass number 1. Atomic number is determined by the number of protons, and atomic mass number is determined by the number of neutrons plus protons. So as the number of protons and neutron is equal to 1, my dear students, we have atomic mass number 1, and atomic number is equal to number of protons, that is equal to 1. So that is why we write 1h1 plus 0, that is 1h1. Please remember, and this is how we explain the structure of our hydrogen. Hydrogen has nucleus. In this nucleus, hydrogen has got 1 proton and 0 neutron, and 1 electron is filled into the first K shell. So we write the electronic configuration for hydrogen this way, my dear students. This is the electronic configuration for our hydrogen, that is 1 electron in the K shell. So for hydrogen, we just write hydrogen. The electronic configuration is 1. That's all. So this is how we represent the electronic configuration for hydrogen. Then, my dear students, we have the uh, next particle to study about. Let us have a look to the next element. The next element, my dear student, is helium. So you can see the next element is helium. Helium has got the atomic number 2 because the atomic number is determined by the number of protons. So you can see that helium has 2 protons, and that is why the atomic number of helium is 2. Now, how do we determine the atomic mass number? The atomic mass number we determine using the number of protons and number of neutrons. So here you can see that the number of proton and neutron is 2 plus 2. So I have written 2 helium 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and finally we represent helium as a 2He4. Remember, this represents the atomic mass number, atomic mass number, and this number represents the atomic number. So on the basis of this, my dear students, we can understand how do we write the atomic number and atomic mass number for any element. You can see that as helium has got 2 proton, it has also 2 electrons, and these 2 electrons are filled in the first shell, that is known as the K shell, and that is why we write the electronic configuration of helium as a 2. So whenever we write the electronic configuration of helium, we will write helium electronic configuration 2. You can see that the L shell and M shell do not have any electron in them in case of the helium. So we can represent KL and M shell for helium, but there is no electron present, and that is why the electronic configuration of helium we write just helium 2. Now, my dear students, we want to study about the next element, the third element. The third element has got its name lithium. This lithium has got 3 proton, and that is why it is having third number of elements. As you know, this element lithium has got 3 proton. The atomic number of lithium is 3. And as it has 3 proton and atoms are electrically neutral, and that is why lithium has got 3 electrons. But you can see that the first shell of lithium, that is K, in which we can fill the maximum number of 2 shell, is completely filled, and that is why the third electron now goes into the M shell, that is the next shell. And thus, my dear students, if you look into the atomic number, on the basis of the number of protons, we have given the atomic number to the lithium 3. But now you can see, my dear students, that number of protons plus number of neutrons. So number of proton is 3, number of neutron is 4. That is why 3 plus 4 is the atomic mass number for our lithium, and thus the atomic mass number of lithium is 7. And this is how, my dear students, we represent lithium as a 3Li7. In the superscript, we write the atomic mass number, which represents the number of protons and number of neutrons. Whereas in the subscript, we write the atomic number, which represents the number of protons. So this is how, my dear students, we study the electronic configuration of our lithium. And for lithium, my dear students, for lithium, we write the electronic configuration as 2, 1. In the first shell, it has 2 electron, comma 1, which is there in the L shell. So this is how, my dear students, we study about the lithium. Now, my dear students, we are going to study about the fourth element, and the name of the fourth element is, my dear student, is beryllium. So let us study about beryllium. Let's move forward and study about beryllium. you can see here we have the fourth element, that is beryllium. Now, as we study about the fourth element, we can easily say that beryllium has got 4 proton, and that is why the atomic number of beryllium is 4, and that is why it is fourth element. Now, as the atomic number of beryllium is 4, it has 4 electron. So the first electron goes into the first shell, that is K, and 2 electrons goes into the second shell, which is known as the L shell, and thus we can write the electronic configuration of beryllium as a 2 comma 2. So in the K shell it has 2 electron, and in the L shell it has 2 electron. Now, if we look into the atomic number and atomic mass number, atomic number is directly given by the number of protons, so we write 4, but atomic mass number is given by the addition of the number of protons and number of neutrons. You can see here we have 4 number of protons and 5 number of neutrons, and that is why we can write the atomic mass number is 4 plus 5. Ultimately, to represent the beryllium, my dear students, this 4 plus 5 is equal to 9, and that is why in the superscript we write 9 and in the subscript we write 4. This is what it represents, the atomic number, and this atomic number is represented by the sign Z.